Brothers and sisters, what is the worst kind of job to have? Considering this, you may think of a job that has no benefits, that is probably on the line all the time, where you can be fired at any moment. You might also think of a job that is dirty, one that the majority may not want to have. You may think of a job that others look down on you for having. May I suggest that the worst kind of job to have is working for nothing. Recently, I saw the following statistic illustrating the number of people that make it to the National Football League after playing high school football. Out of just over 1 million high school football players, 70,000 play football in college. 6,500 of those are scouted by the NFL. 256 players are drafted by the NFL, and all but 150 players play for more than just 4 years in the league. Football is wonderful, but if it has an expiration date, our job is far bigger than the experiences of this life. In the first reading from the book of the prophet Daniel, we hear, "Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake." Death is inevitable. It also means that life can be filled with struggles, but the Lord will bring us back to life again and make us whole again when our bodies and souls will be united. And when He does, some will be in heaven. In other words, those who the Lord found worthy of Himself will be in heaven. Possibly, they will be the ones who focus their attention on God, those who received validation from God, those who only looked for the reward of God, maybe even those who place God as their only hope, because placing our energy on anything else before God is, in fact, what takes away life. Such is the reason why many of us may give up or become depressed, because we found our purpose in everything else but God. But the last time I checked, there is no purpose outside of God. Now, some of us, definitely not here at St. Vincent de Paul, may get caught up being instruments of justice, wanting to make sure that everything is right and tidy for everyone. This is good. However, with all the injustices of the world, you will find yourself exhausted. You will find yourself perpetually tired. You will find yourself mad or even sad, angry, frustrated, and you may even despair. It is true that we are human, but those emotions can be resolved if only we remember the following: who do you work for? Because if God is not calling you to do something, the joy and courage of being the Lord's own is lost because we are too busy focusing on results instead of being present to the Lord. Needless to say, St. Michael the Archangel, for instance, is a mighty, powerful archangel. However, he's not fighting his own fight. He is fighting as instructed and sent by the Lord. Dare I ask, what is the Lord sending you to do? This question helps me in my own priesthood. There's so many things to do in the day, so many tasks to accomplish, so many invitations, so many emails, so many obligations. How do I manage them all? Well, do what is necessary. And what is necessary is a task that I am particularly called to do. Offer Mass for the people of God. Pray, heal the sick, be God's representative. If I neglect any of these to do a task that I think is cool and I may like, or that others may like, I am not doing the work of God. The same is true even in your own lives. If the Lord has made you to be a mother or a father, neglecting your kids when they are sick and alone just to play basketball, for instance, may not be a good idea. If you are a husband or a wife, neglecting your spouse when she mentions, or he or she mentions, that she is not happy that you did not do the task you promised, but instead go out to hang out with your friends, that's probably not a good idea, right? The examples are many, but the theme is the same. Abandoning what the Lord has called you and me to do is not flattering, but points to the fact that we have forgotten who we work for. Jesus Christ, in his eternal priesthood, works by offering himself for you and me. And while on earth, he asks the Father for the courage to do so, noting that we are not alone in this task of making this world a better place. So why not depend upon God who loves you, upon the God that sends you because he trusts you? Friends, sometimes when we forget who we serve, we get bitter, we get anxious, and we get mad at the world around us. And do you happen to know what that is? That, my friends, is the spirit of entitlement, where we feel like we must have this or feel like we must have that. And when we don't, we cry or shout like a baby or like an overgrown baby, but not here at St. Vincent de Paul, of course not. However, the things of this world are gifts. The Lord never guaranteed that we will receive this or that. However, those gifts are more like stepping stones for a better tomorrow. And you might say, yes, Father. However, the better tomorrow that we disciples refer to are endless opportunities to minister to the love of the Lord without anything getting in the way. Because if the gifts are in fact a burden, why would the Lord give them to his servants? We human beings do a good job of settling. And to illustrate that, once upon a time, a hungry lion was chasing a scientist and a philosopher. The scientist made some quick calculations and said, it's no good trying to outrun it. It's catching up. The philosopher, while still ahead of them both, replied, I'm not trying to outrun the lion. I'm trying to outrun you. The Lord is not calling you to settle, friends. He's calling you to remember your worth. Remember your identity. Remember the task. And remember him who you serve. Therefore, I invite you to think about your life. Are you dissatisfied with your life? If you are, that is totally fine. Here is where we build up ourselves by inviting our Savior into our lives, inviting him into the dirt, inviting him into the muck, inviting him into our actions, inviting him into our thoughts, and finding your worth in him. Allow him to show you what you need to do. Allow him to give you the courage to execute in the ways in which he's calling you to do so. Friends, everything begins and ends with God. And just as you are sure that there is more to life than sickness, death, and suffering, so too there is more to life than money, material wealth, and careers. More is God, and we'll be returning to him eventually to be with him forever, where joy will never ever be taken away from you. However, the Lord will not impose himself upon you. But you will never be happy, and you will never be at peace if you do not have God. Let your chief employer pay you by reminding you of his presence, so that when you give of your very selves working in this world, we may not give from our empty, but from the Lord's fullness.